But anyway,
look at that boy. Look at that Hemi.
That's why now
Who injected Hemi?
I collect muscle machine die-cast. I just love them. Well, the thing is, I'm building a lot of cars out here, and it takes too much time. You know, I love it. I love beautiful cars, but
This thing's outrageous. This thing's crazy. Craziness.
there's no way I can build anything like that. But the nice thing about these, when I get done with them, they are set up to be run. Dummy them up. Everything in here, I mean, they might have empty engines, but the engine is lined up with the rear end. You put the trans and the high gear shaft in it, and you're on your own. Same thing with the fan coupe, I got in the middle of that. And the economy, and I don't want to get political, but the economy took a shit. Laura went out on disability, and so we lost a bunch of money there. But I got it building, so it's got a double motor in it, and it's hooked up to run. In my early days to support my...
Yeah.
I had a quarter cylinder from the next one. There's an example of this one. I quarter cylinder from 1960 to 1995. Yeah, right. My porting bench was right here, and my fan was right there. I retired in 92. I bought me house. I just turned 55. So I kept porting. Well, 95 is when they came out with the CNC machine cylinder head. I'll take a look at it. You can't beat that. And I was thankful. I was tired of machine shots. I made a good one. But that's the thing. I couldn't take money out of my mailman pay to build dragsters, and I've always had a dragster. I had my first car was a 33 Ford with a brand new brake motor, 67 P28 202, and a P10 total. That was fun. I shoved the rear wheels forward, listening here to have that was up the handle. I get looked at. You know, it's a 90 and then carried the front end and we went through the rear end. Then I built a chassis research car, 98-inch wheelbase, and Jacker's 426 Chrysler wedge on gasoline with a shorty cork plate. And I didn't have money for aftermarket systems. We took that stock block, put some injectors on it, or I don't remember, well, ignition of some nature. I can't remember. We went 139.5 and 10.04 on a stock motor. Back to Dock Island, and up there at Fort Martin. And that was fun, with a short wheelbase coming off, and open the air like that. I love chassis research cars. That's my thing. It's the early, there is my car that's building. Over 98 decibel group. And I said, everybody said, how come you only got 98-inch wheelbase cars? Well, I get a longer car, I can't go up there. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm collecting that stuff over the years. So last time...
This guy's amazing. This guy is amazing. Look at these old cheater slips. Look at these things. Wow. Oh, wow. Is that Daryl Gwynn's signature? I think that is. That is. Wow. God, that's
Can't take any shots. I like that guy next to Rousey, but can't take any pictures.
Of what?
Mine wants to flash off, and I can't shut my flash off. And it flashes back on the glass, so I took 2-3 different angles.
You can shut your flash off, though, I think, Cave.
No, I can't on mine.
Oh. This guy's got some cool stuff. Look at that, a double engine setup. Whoa. That's crazy. That is just wild. Oh, look, oh my gosh, it's got a front end blower setup on it. Look at that. Look at that setup. Oh my god. That's outrageous. That is rare right there. Front end blower setup. Is that a Buick motor? I think it is. That yellow?
That's Oldsmobile.
They're old. Okay, old too. Nailhead, right? As they called it.
No, it's Buick was a nailhead.
Or was that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't know GM very well, but I was close. That's cool though. It's got the blower on the front.
That's called popping.
Is that what it is? That's odd. That's like the one. That's like the one that's in the orange crate.
Same engine, everything, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. What a cool deal. This place is awesome, man.
It's the truck. See, I've got a Dakota pickup, and I like it. It's a 99, and it's so clean and nice. We use this to take stuff to the dump in.
Really? Nice. You did the work on that, though, right?
Huh?
You did the work on that, right? Paint work and...
No, I got a body man. He did this Bantam coupe, and he did this car too.
Wow.
And they just cut off one of his legs, so...
Sorry to hear that.
That's not good.
Nice work, though.
Cool.
Yeah, but last time we saw that, it was all... You can see the stitch marks on the body there.
Wow.
Here's this car.
This... Oh, that's... Oh, my.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, this, when I was teching in cars at Martin Dragway, that car was up there under 4 different owners. Always for sale, running for $3,500.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I just got married and I had 4 kids and I was raising a wife. Those are expensive.
Those are, yep. I know. I have one of those myself, and it's very
Well, I'm on my 4th. My wife now is 20 years younger than me.
Well, they say, why get married? Just find a girl you hate and buy her a house.
Okay.
I found one that likes to work on cars.
Oh, that's a rarity.
The first thing she said to me was, we were in a coffee shop, a bunch of us guys, and she had to deal with her husband, and she did all the work on the family car. She come over to the table and said, anybody here know anything about Mopars? And I raised my hand. We've been married for 23 years. Wow.
That's funny. That's cool.
One of those.
Yeah, me too.
Here's the article they did on this car in Hot Rod Magazine back in '65.
That's cool. Oh, the injector stacks are different. That's a different injector plenum altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both Hilburns, but this is the very earliest one.
Sure.
This is the later one.
Right.
And this, I got a bigger injector on this because this car originally ran gasoline.
Bigger diameter.
And this is running 20% nitro. That way I can run it high gear. I don't have to shift the transmission, and I can take off the tires.
What's
Put the 120 in the AC back?
Oh yeah, I got a pinstriper and letterer that does all my stuff.
And your name is?
Dave Crane.
Dave Crane, and you were a flagman and driver at some point? Or?
Oh yeah, I always had a drag racing car or something.
Uh-huh. Cool. That's awesome. Beautiful. I love those cheater slicks. Little torque thrust rims on it. That's neat.
This is all the neat shit.
Absolutely.
There's the car running at Detroit Dragway in 1959 with a Ford flathead engine in it.
Cool. Wow. What kind of times would you
I
get?
have no idea.
No.
But you know Al Bergler?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Well, there's Al in a Crosley with a 392 in the back of it.
That's funny.
Now, you know Al Bergler's got the yellow Bantam coupe that's like this.
I've heard of him.
Well, I'm the one that got him the body and the frame for the car.
It's cool. Very cool. That's great, man. All these old photos from back in the day.
Now,
That's neat.
Here's me and Bergler up at Gilmore Museum.
Okay. Yeah. We've been out there a few times.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
It's a wonderful place.
Have you been there within the last year or two?
Those were the cars that were saying that they were on.
Oh, was that the one? Was that the time? Was that it? Okay, cool. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, see, I had this,
Oh, those are beautiful.
the body he's got on that car I had on the front porch of the barn for about 5 years, and he wanted to rebuild this car.
I saw those sitting out there. You got
Well,
something
then
over
my
there.
friend Denny Lusky at the Ionia Speed Shop found this body in a barn up near Ionia.
It works.
And I went up there and got it, and the guy gave it to me for nothing. So now I had the body I wanted. I called up Bergler, and he took that body and
That's
built
cool.
that car.
You do good work, man. These are great.
There's the car with the
Gorgeous.
flathead in it in 1959 at Detroit Dragway.
Uh-huh. Is that a radiator? Is
No.
there, what's it?
Fuel tank up there.
All right, your overflow hoses out of the heads. Where are those going? Just
Probably into your headers.
Okay.
They go into your headers.
I see. And then the headers burn it off
Yeah.
and blow it out. Yeah. I'll be darned. I'll be darned. That's pretty cool.
Huh? What's up with that engine? That's a 265 Chevy overhead cam.
This is amazing.
Oh,
Gosh, this is cool. Nice
I
collection.
used to have these albums. Me and my brother, yes, these were vinyl albums of yes.
Now I want to show you something here, Hot Rod. See that grill shell there? That's a buddy of mine's car out of Lansing, Michigan.
Oh yeah, you got that on the wall.
It says the glass chariot on it.
Okay.
Okay, that grill shell's right over there on the wall.
Ooh. Nice. Very nice. Look at all this stuff. Wow, this is cool.
Started out when I was a kid, so with these little cars right here that you bought, and the body was in 2 pieces. You had to glue the body together and everything. We didn't have any damn glue with them. I mean, you glue them together, and the next day they were laying apart. And I don't know, but you can see by the parts laying beside them that they haven't lasted. I channeled a 32 Ford.
Wow.
This goes
Look at those
back to
things.
55, I think.
That's
I
cool.
was still I was doing price for Henry's then. And I love to modify everything. Obviously. But anyway, we went along. A buddy of mine was in a scrapyard, and this was laying in the scrapyard, and he brought it and gave it to me. They got together and gave Cora and I some little presents and a big old tall trophy and everything. Well, my friend Ralph Kitron, who built the Swamp Fox dragster, and we took it to California and put it in the NHRA museum.
Nice.
Did the Cackle Fest. Anyway, he came over, and he's always building shit. And he's a very talented guy. Now, you have to understand, my lovely wife was a rural delivery carrier until 2006, and she came down with fibromyalgia, and she's on a disability.
Oh, man.
She's 20 years younger than me. And that works. That's nice. But anyway, he put on here, Gone Postal, David and Courtney combined to build the perfect dual-purpose hot rod. It hauls the mail. And he said, now David, he said, this is the way it looks when Cora's out on her rural route. But see, I walked around town. You know, I was walking here. He said, this is the way it looks when Cora delivers the mail. This is the way it looks when you do it.
That's awesome. That's cool. Isn't that something? That's cool.
I said, how long did that take you to make? He said, 6 months. He said, I had to take the Willie Bush model and cut it in 2 and put it back together.
That's neat. That is cool.
Very cool. Nice, nice. Psychic reaction. Look at it, it's got an injected 427 in it. Look at that. That's awesome.
This guy is just amazing.
by 40, the war started going and everybody started making cars anyway.
The fire bottle.
But the first year, 1937, the sides of the motors were welded in stainless steel. To make it more
How's that
lightweight.
fire bottle set up? How does that go? Oh, you just yank on it and it goes off. I get it.
This were marine motors. Those were called pin sides. And they used those in the next study. The vehicles we were commonly used in mid-race cars and boats.
And trust that it's going to stay together.
On down here, that's a Studebaker 6. Oh, that was my steer motor for my big race car. When I ran a Studebaker 6. Yeah. I'll run a lot of those flat motors, and I got
That's outrageous.
Well, the neat thing on alcohol, this puppy, if you're racing at night and you're running alcohol,
Now this will get the lawn done quickly.
you let off on it going to turn.
Might end up with some trenches in the yard, but... Look at this thing! This is funny, look at this. That's hilarious. Nitro burning lawnmower. I love it.
They came out to the solar. This is here. Smaller all the way around. No parts. Then in 73 they came out with Dodge red rims. Oh yeah. And that's shorter than the DeSoto. 241 cubic inches. But that's a Dodge red rim. Pardon? 241 cubic inch in the Dodge, 276 there, and then 291, 330, 341, 445. Yeah, and they're good little motors. And now you go to the Autorama down in Detroit, in the basement down there, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting the car with it. It doesn't matter.
God, this thing is... Oh, look at this thing.
Sticking out the side of the motor, you know. This nail head unit, 864 cubic inches, ran it in a boat. Guy came over and wanted to set a cylinder head for it. And he was all business, and his head was full of sailboats.
What a cool shop. Look at all this. This is awesome. Look at this, man. This is a fabricator's dream, man. Build any kind of car you want. Oh my gosh, what's that? Oh my goodness, who's that? It's what's her name? Two things come to mind when I think of what's her name. Wait a minute. What's that chick's name? I forget. She was in the 70s. Forget her name. Huh, not bad. That's funny.
But anyway, I got the damn bolt motor, and I went over and got the heads, just still in the boxes. I brought them home, and they're dark motherfuckers. I started popping them open. I'm going to get this porting job done and pay for that motor, because I love this. I popped them open, my heads were ported from the factory. So I called him up and I said, look, give me these heads. I said, they're ported from the factory. I have to tell you that, to be honest with you. He said, are they shiny inside? Right then again, I knew, you know, sailboat. I said, no. He said, I want those heads so shiny inside that I can see my reflection. Which, by the way, would not have been pretty. But anyway. So I spent 12 hours. Because when they rough pour a set of heads out of dark, they're rougher than a badger's ass sewed up with a logging chain.
I'm gonna have to. That's nice.
With some sandpaper.
That's hilarious.
And
that's funny. That's a cool story.
Some fine sandpaper, and they turned out beautiful. But the thing you have to know is the import of any engine should not be polished.
Why?
Your intake port should never be polished. The exhaust port's fine because that's a dry charge. What you want is a rough surface on that intake port to keep the gas in the air, because the gas on a shiny surface will grab a hold of the side of that port and then it'll dribble down into your motor.
Oh, wow.
So what I do when I used to port them, I'd get them right where I wanted and make everything smooth. And then I'd go through there with the roughest cutter I had and just beat the shit out of it.
Huh.
You know, and what you're looking at is you're trying to pick up the velocity of it. You got enough volume, but you want to keep that air broken.
So did he understand that? Or you tell us?
I polish those sons of bitches.
Comb your hair in them.
The thing is, what you got to understand, a lot of things people do to their cars isn't necessarily what should be done, but it feeds their mind. I had a guy come over here with a 454 Chevy and a truck, beautiful little truck, all lowered down and everything. I got to have my heads for you. I said, are you racing this thing? I don't race this truck. I never drive it over 45 miles an hour. That's 40. And I said, well, you got square port heads, which is wrong in the first place. You drive down to an oval port head.
Huh. Yeah.
And he was mad, and he won't talk to me to this day. That was 15 years ago. I wouldn't take his money. A display motor, and that serves a couple purposes. It gives you an idea of what things should look like, but also, I'm not going to last forever. Somebody's going to come in here and wonder where all this shit goes to, and it's bolted to the motor, so it'll help.
Are those Hemi motors?
Huh?
I know the ones I Hemi.
Yeah, they're
okay. I didn't know if they were Arden.
Yeah, these are 392 blocks. That's a 426 block. That's a good motor. That's a good block.
Wow.
You got 6 2s for almost anything here. And what you got to understand is when the Oldsmobile and the Cadillac came out, which were our first modern overhead valve V8 motors, they didn't have decent carburation. And the guys for years had been playing around with the early flatheads and using Stromberg 97s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them at a time, 8 of them. So they were used to that. So the early motors, there was a lot of manifolds made up to hold a multitude of Stromberg 97 carburetors because the guys knew what to do with them, and the first 4-barrel carburetors really sucked, you know. So anyway, I've got 6 sets of manifolds there for 6 2s for an Oldsmobile. I've got injectors for a 430 Lincoln, for a Cadillac, for a 394 Olds, for a 303 Olds.
That's cool.
Just different stuff.
That's neat.
This one manifold, and I can't really reach it, but this manifold is Detroit racing equipment, and they were only made for Oldsmobiles and Cadillacs because the guy went out of business in '52. There really wasn't any more, but here's the original sales brochure and everything.
Wow.
But it says Detroit racing equipment stamped in the side of the manifold.
That's cool. Where were those made?
Huh?
Where were they made?
Detroit?
Somewhere, some foundry or something?
I have no idea.
Okay. Just wondering.
But anyway, we get into other oddball things. Here is, like I was telling you, putting those carburetors on the overhead valve motors. There's a tin manifold for a 392 or for a 331 Hemi, Chrysler Hemi.
Wow.
Made, welded all up.
You did this?
No.
Your buddy did it, or? That's pretty neat.
And then Crower came out with kits, and they were called the Crower UFAB manifold. And you bolt it, you got it all in pieces. You bolted this to your cylinder heads, welded this pipe in, put this in, put your carburetor things on the top.
Wow.
And that was a 6.2 manifold, and you make it yourself.
You can put it on just about anything you want?
Anything.
Is that the idea?
The only difference was your
Flange,
the
your flange.
flanges there.
Huh. I'll be darned. I'll be darned. This is wild. She's too cool.
Showing me a lot of history.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
People have probably seen models of the SoCal coupe. Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, this came off the SoCal coupe.
That's cool.
And what happened is Alex Exidius, who started the first speed shop out there in California in '46, built the SoCal coupe, and he had a flathead on nitro, and they ran it at Bonneville. Early on, there was no drag racing to speak of till the very late 40s, early 50s. So he ran it on nitro at the lakes and at the dry lakes in the Bonneville. And they were running the thing pretty strong across the lakes. And the motor blew up and the driver was killed.
Oh my.
Okay. So he sold the car. The guy that bought it put a Cadillac engine in it. And he built his own front drive blower setup. Just like the one on that Oldsmobile right there.
Sure, looking at that. Yeah.
That's a Potvin front drive setup.
That's
we'll
wild.
get to that.
That's a wild setup.
But anyway, he didn't have the top for the Potvin, and he made his own adapter to the front of the motor so he could drive the blower off the crankshaft. Wow. Then he ran the tubes up into here, and what he uses is the bottom of the set of a Hilburn injectors. And he made up these tubes to put it on, and he ran that coupe with the Cadillac engine in it. And only ran it for a short period of time. And Bill Travis bought the car, took the Cadillac out of the car, put the Cadillac in his push truck, took the flathead out of his roadster and put it in the back in that SoCal coupe, and drove that car for 28 years, longer than anybody else. And in the late 90s, that went into a museum.
Nice.
But I called him and asked him about this, and he said, yeah, he took the Cadillac out of it, and he sold all the Cadillac speed equipment. And a buddy of mine picked this up. Well, Dave Licari. Anybody know Dave Licari?
I haven't heard of him. No. I've heard of him.
Very famous for Hardin overhead valve flathead in his T Roadster.
California.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. I remember the name.
Yeah.
St. Ignace one time.
Yeah, that's who I stayed with when I went to California, out in Apple Valley. But anyway, he had this, and I got that. He owed me $40. Stocks back in the days. And anyway, mid-50s or into the later 50s, he had always run flatheads and stuff like that. He wanted a Chevy, and he got a brand new 265 short block. And then he built this whole thing himself.
That's cool.
Out of just what he had around.
You can tell by this cover.
Well, not only that, the heads are two different models.
I do CNC work, so when I saw this, I thought, oh, that's homemade.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Well,
That's all that matters.
But he kept this down in his basement on a stand. He only ever had a 2-barrel carburetor on it because that's all you need to test it.
Sure.
And he kept the exhaust flanges on it so he could run the exhaust out the basement window. I mean, we're talking typical backyard stock cars, where you drive up to the house and the most of the furniture is laying upside down in the front yard and that sort of thing. But
Honey Boo Boo.
Duck Dynasty, is that what we're talking about?
Anyway, he had this in his basement, and he'd open the door and let you look down at it. And the guy that ran Onondaga Dragway stops here all the time, Dewey Kettner.
Oh, I'd love to meet him.
Dewey built Onondaga.
I grew up in that track.
And he stops here all the time. He's a neat guy.
That's cool.
But he used to stop over there and just to take food to this guy's kids. Because this guy would go to the store, he'd buy loaves of bread and jars of peanut butter, and that's all the kids ate.
Wow.
So Dewey Kettner would take food over to the kids, and he said, he was always saying, look downstairs and see my motor. But he had the rocker covers on it, he had the front plate on. Oh, we got to take this off.
Yeah, that's a cool little cover. What is that? That's probably 3/16 plate steel or something.
You got stronger fingers.
You got a little cap screw, Allen wrench.
There you go. I've got arthritis.
This works though. That's cool the way you scribed it out and cut it out and put her up on there. Nice. Oh, look at that nice chain setup. Cool.
It's almost like a 427 overhead.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Look at that.
But see, he kept us down in the basement, and he wouldn't show it to anybody because he figured Detroit was going to steal his idea.
That's funny.
But anyway, it was all, nobody would go down there because the basement stunk so bad, and there was a foot of water down there. You had to walk through water to get to the motor. So they'd never go down there. So in about 1990, they decided they'd demolish the house. And the kids, there was one kid left. Bill Quigley was long since dead. But the guys around town knew that motor was still in the basement.
This is wild.
And nobody had ever laid a hand on it. So they went down to the basement and they waded through the water and they grabbed that motor up, and it's laying on its side. The side of the pan's rusted. Built this setup here so you can run your blower off the crank. And what you got is you put your blower up sideways there, and you've got two gears there for each rotor. And the crank ran into one gear, and there was another gear that you bolted on the back of the top one, and it made the blower work. That was all right, except that you couldn't change the ratio of how fast your blower was turning.
Right. Plus, it's got much farther to travel from the blower to the intake ports.